Welcome back everybody. For this part of the video series I'm going to focus on making the top for the Low-boy. As you can see here, these are going to be the raw pieces that I'm going to use, but before I can glue them up I must prepare each piece individually. As you can see here, once again each piece will then be flattened to make sure we have one surface area that's completely flat and untwisted, and then we will also square the sides, and then lastly I will then make sure each piece is the same thickness before glue up. Here I'm checking if the sides are square with my reference face. Any piece that's still high or low I then just take out gradually until I'm happy with the result. I also check the squareness on one of the end grain pieces for each piece. This I usually use with glue up so that I have a reference face to align everything up against. With all the pieces now prepared, it's time for glue up. As you can see here, basically pinning every piece together, and hopefully it doesn't bow or distort too much. After the glue up, I just make sure everything is still nice and flat and in square as I want it to be, and sometimes I just need to do a little bit of a touch up here and there, as you can see here. Here I'm basically squaring the other end of the board, just to make sure both sides are then squared at the end of the day with the correct length sawed out. I apologize for the low lights of level, but the power went out, but I had to continue the work. These are going to be side panels that I'm going to glue onto the Low-boy's top so that the roof can actually go onto it. Here I'm basically busy making turn buttons to attach the top piece to the Low-boy itself. This will allow for expansion and contraction of the top piece without interfering with the rest of the Low-boy, and then basically to avoid cracks forming at the end of the day. Here I'm drilling out holes for the screws to go through the turn buttons to attach them to the tabletop. And after all that, here are all my turn buttons that I'm going to use for the tabletop. Since it's quite a big area, there's going to be quite a few of these turn buttons at the end of the day. Here's a quick demonstration of what I mean. So there's the side rail that I talked about, and here's our turn button. So that will be attached to the top piece as shown here, and then the turn button will click into the side rails so that you can't lift off the tabletop. To help attach the side rails to the Low-boy, I'm drilling out holes here to accept pins, which I'm going to basically also help use to attach it to the Low-boy. This will also add strength, not just with the glue but also with the pins at the end of the day to the Low-boy. I've attached some battens here to the side rails, as you can see, so that I can just get a perfect alignment with the top of the Low-boy. I've added pins just to make sure I get the alignment right when I bore holes on the opposite sides into the Low-boy itself. So, after drilling the holes in the Low-boy, it's time for glue up. I still use the temporary battens, as you can see, just to get 100% sure I get alignment right. And if everything goes well, it should be flush, the side rails with the Low-boy piece. With the glue up in place, I can then remove the temporary battens from the side rails. As part of the Low-boy design, I'm adding basically rabbets to the side and to the front of the top piece, and that is basically purely for just decoration purposes. I decided to make my Low-boy a little bit different, was to add another top piece to the Low-boy top, and then just add in the middle a little low carved rosetta, as you can see here. As part of that design, I decided also to give it a big curve so it's not so bulky at the end of the day. These two pieces that I glued onto the top will just act as kickers for the central drawer at the end of the day. Right, now that all of that is finally done, it's time to add the top to the Low-boy itself. As you can see here, I'm going to basically screw in each turn button to the top, and then that will be attached to the Low-boy itself, as you can see there with the runners. Thank you so much for watching. In the last part of this video series, I'm just going to finish making all the small little pieces, and then the final assembly, and then coating, and then hopefully the Low-boy will be done. Thank you so much. Cheers.